In our last episode, our video team followed Dr. Yin to the Netherlands for a 3-day seminar with some of Europe's brightest minds in the field of animal behavior science. In this episode, we interview the woman who put it all together, Sabrina Brando, training, enrichment, and welfare consultant for zoos and other exotic animal organizations.
So my name is Sabrina Brando. I'm a psychologist by training, and I own a consultancy company called Animal Concepts, which gives advice with regards to animal welfare from a behavior perspective. So the company is based in the Netherlands, but I work worldwide. I travel about 10 months of the year to all corners of the world, depending on the company that I work for. It could be at a zoo or a research lab, a university, a wildlife center. Yes, so low stress handling is very important to me, and it should be to all animal care professionals, whether you're working with pets or zoo animals or in a lab. You constantly have to think, so how does what I do or the way I dress or the way we handle animals, how does that affect their welfare, and do they experience positive welfare? So some of the techniques that Dr. Yin as well as people in the zoo world have been trying to refine is to make the experience of when we handle the animals for a vet examination or a transport is as comfortable as possible and safe, of course, also for animals and people. And this is in comparison to, of course, with some of the older methods, and not necessarily older because they're still being used today, which is grabbing the animal, holding on to the animal, maybe sitting on the animal, or if it's a flat fish, I can just push the animal to the bottom of the floor and do whatever I need to do, because often we use these methods to restrain animals, but they're not necessarily very good for the welfare of the animal. So I think this low stress handling really keeps us thinking about how can we refine what we do with the animals. The low stress handling is absolutely safer for animals and people, because we spend a lot of time thinking about, so how do we support the animal, how do we move an animal, where is the person standing, how is this affecting maybe the way we administer medication, how is this affecting the way that the animal is comfortable, it can keep breathing while it's in the procedure. So there's a lot more thought about what we do and how we do it, rather than maybe jumping on the animal and restraining the animal, using nets or towels or any of the other ways that we sometimes deal with animals. When we train animals, for example, to participate in the voluntary care, so they go and stand on a scale, or they give us a paw so we can clip the nails, they can open their mouth so we can check the teeth. We can do a lot with animals on a voluntary basis, and especially for animals that are very large, like some big cats or elephants, or animals that are not directly in contact with us for a lot of reasons. That is a really nice way of working with the animals and getting them voluntarily to collaborate in a positive manner with us, so we can do preventive health care or deal with situations as they come along. So to understand what a zoo animal needs, we have to understand for what species we are designing the programs, what the animal's biology is, ecology, what do they eat, how do they socialize, what sounds do they make, all kinds of different components that come together into a complete animal program. And that could of course be from a species level, but we also have to look from an individual level. So even though we might design a specific exercise program for humans, we still tailor that program to the specific individual humans, and we do the same for zoo animals. We might have a Siberian tiger program, but we're still going to tailor this program to the individuals of the group, because just like humans, not all tigers are the same. For any animal handler, whether you're working in a zoo or a research lab or a wildlife center, you really have to be sensitive and attentive to animal body language. So this can be quite challenging, especially if you're taking care of multiple species, but you have to understand and try to understand, what do the facial expressions mean, what do their sounds mean. Is this a happy sound, is this a sound where they're feeling fearful, or whether they may be in pain? What does an animal that is feeling well look like, and also how do animals look when they're maybe experiencing bad welfare states? So yeah, it is quite challenging, and also because we don't necessarily know very much about all the different species, and so that's always very much of a learning curve for also understanding, or what we know from animals in the wild, does that apply to individual animals in captivity? That's also a difficult question sometimes to answer.
In the next episode, we follow Dr. Yin to a sea park in the city of Harderwijk, where she gets to make some very special acquaintances. Stay tuned.